Yeah, my name is Sultan Ahmed, and from Islamic Relief, and the work here has been absolutely phenomenal. We've been here since yesterday morning, and we've brought over 6,000 bottles of water immediately, as well as sleeping bags and bedding facilities. And not only that, Islamic Relief has a network of recycling facilities all around the country, and we've managed to get together clothes and basic essentials that people would have needed here. And that was at a time when the demand was really high, and we brought everything that we could. But the generosity in the community in London and beyond London as well has been phenomenal. Instead of just sitting at home and watching the news, the community here, regardless of whether it was Muslims or non-Muslims, black, white or brown people, everybody got together here in West London and came together because they felt a sense of responsibility to help the victims of this tragedy. And
let me just jump in there just for a second. That's been, Salman, can you hear me okay? I just want to jump in and say that's really, as we've watched this, just been one of the extraordinary, heartwarming parts to this story, this unspeakable catastrophe, and the community has come together as you are. Now, if we have the technology, you're right there on the ground in one of the relief centers that you have set up, and explain to me and what's going on there behind you. These are people coming for things to help them. What's going on there now?
Okay, so what's happening here is what we're calling an organized chaos. Because of the sheer amount of response from the community bringing in items that were donated. And if I just turn the camera around, there's people here still bringing in donation. And that's just some of the things that have been happening since yesterday and even till today. That's all going in there. We've sent out a message to everybody not to bring any more donations because there's simply too much of it. And now the volunteers here are helping pack away those items into boxes, and they're going into storage for later. Now, I have been positioned inside the sports hall where the families and the victims are based at the moment. I've met a Persian woman who has 6 children, 3 sons and 3 daughters, and she has no idea where her husband is. What she told me was that her husband is the rock in the family. He's the breadwinner. He's the one that has been an inspiration to her children, and she broke down. She had a mental breakdown because she doesn't know where her husband is. They don't know if he's still stuck inside. They don't know if he's out there, and it's been a very, very difficult situation for the people inside. Islamic Relief is providing support with volunteers trying to sift through the items and move them away, but also we're working in partnership with British Red Cross to provide cultural, moral and religious support where the victims need it.
So I want to ask a couple of things based on what you just said there, Sultan. Number one, you heard from that one woman, but her story is unfortunately one that so many families are going to be experiencing because there are whole families still missing and unaccounted for. As you talk to the people there who are receiving your help, who are waiting for answers, share some more of the stories about what they're going through in the aftermath today.
I mean, generally, the victims here are very, very upset, naturally, and that's why they're inside the centre, they're away from the media, and we don't want to interfere, and we don't want to be an intrusion in their lives in this difficult time, so we want to give them some private space, so the general public and the media is away from the families. But the atmosphere inside is one of sorrow, and people really don't know when they're going to find out. Of course, I know the emergency services are working really, really hard behind the scenes, trying to go through the building, secure the building and find people inside. I can't talk too much about the estimates or death tolls at the moment because that's not information that I have to hand, but we expect that's going to rise very, very quickly. And Islamic Relief is working in coalition with other charities here to try and help provide support. So if people are coming with news, the bad news, if they find their loved ones who haven't made it, then we are ready to support them, whether it's providing counselling or religious services. We're here to do whatever the community
needs. Let me just jump in with one more question. Can I just jump in with one more question there? Sorry, because you're quite right not to say estimates. Officials aren't making any estimates. They've said the number of dead will rise, and they're unfortunately very grim about the prospect that the people who are missing may indeed end up among the victims ultimately, but they're not giving numbers either. Coming back to what the point you were making, though, about religious and cultural sensitivity, you know, the Muslim community working with a number of other charities across religious lines. But part of this story has been extraordinary. It's the Ramadan angle, the fact that people were up having a Ramadan meal after sunset. That's why they were up and able to respond and help so quickly after the fire broke out, and to help so many. And there you are with Islamic Relief volunteers who are themselves now fasting because we're in the midst of Ramadan, coming together to help regardless of their own religious practices. Just address that angle. You won't have had anything to eat or drink, I would imagine.
Religious angle.
Right, okay. Sorry, I'm relying on my colleague here to do some translation because I can't hear you very well. So if I got it right, you were asking about the month of Ramadan and how the people in this religious community coming together. Right, the month of Ramadan means that Muslims are not allowed to eat or drink during daylight. So we started fasting again at 2:45 this morning, and we are going to be fasting all the way till almost 9:30. And to be honest, as Muslims, we are fasting, we're not eating or drinking, but the energy in the community that you find here, whether Muslims or non-Muslims, I think everyone's in it together, and that community feeling has really been injecting us with the energy, and we haven't been thinking about the food or the water. Right now, the focus in the community is how can we help, and that's what the majority of the people that are coming here, and even I've been getting non-stop calls from volunteers and from different parts of the community asking for help. And let me also say that I used to work in West London many years ago, and I have a lot of friends and ex-colleagues who live in this area, and I've had messages from them too to say we can't find our loved ones, and our friends are reporting they can't find their loved ones. So we're really trying to do as best as possible to try and locate people, missing people, and also stick together. And this is a very, very difficult time for London. I don't think we have seen a tragedy of this scale in the past. So it is really testing the dynamics of our great British society and the great community that we have in London. Really, this is not about Muslims or non-Muslims or religious. Yes, it's happened in the month of Ramadan, unfortunately, but this is human beings being human beings, coming and doing their bit to help in whatever way they can.